What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Thomas Gallery, and today I want to talk about how I got into math. Now, probably like got into math. You mean got into math? You never took math before? That's not what I mean. This is what I mean. How I got into how I got into math as like a passion for me. How I really how I really incorporated it in my life. In every aspect. And it started when I was in third grade. A lot of these way back stories, like third grade, pivotal moment in my life. But in the third grade, and my third grade teacher, Miss Jasper, she was my homeroom and also my math teacher in third grade. And when it came to math, more so than any subject, she was particularly strict on when it came to math, right? We had did our addition, or so how when you start off math, you gotta start off with addition first, then you do subtraction, then multiplication, then division. That's how it goes in the order of which you're taught with math. And I remember we were just finishing up learning about addition. Okay, we learned all the rules about addition. We did all our tests and our work with addition, and it was time for us to transfer from learning about addition to learning about subtraction. Okay, and with addition I was fine, but the way she taught it was, she wasn't going to teach you subtraction until you learn addition, and she was strict on that. Like, she would get upset about that. She would scream out, you will not pass to subtraction until you master addition. I mean, she actually would yell it out. I'm not going to scream on the camera thing, but you will not pass to subtraction until you master addition. She will always say this. You couldn't go to the next stage of math until you had learned and mastered the previous stage. Okay, so we got through addition. We moved on to subtraction. And excuse me. When it got to subtraction, I had the hardest time with subtraction. I don't know why. Looking back on it, I try why did I have trouble with subtraction? And I think it was in subtraction, for those people who knows about subtraction. Where when you have in the ones, tens, hundreds place, when you're in the ones place, let's say the top number is smaller than the bottom number. What do? You cross out that number, you add a 1. So let's say you have 0. You have a 0 up top and a 5 at the bottom, right? And what you would do is you would cross the 0 out and just put a 1 there, making that 0 a 10. Okay, so now you have 10 minus 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. Okay. Then what my problem came about when, let's say you had ones and tens place. So you cross out the number in the ones place, add the 1, you do the subtraction there, then you go to the tens place, and you have to cross that out also. And then you would make it one less number. So we had like a 5 in the ones place. You cross out the 5 and make it a 4. Okay? I always had an issue with, okay, what about when it comes to numbers in the hundreds place and then the thousands place and so on? Okay? I understood the ones place, I understood the tens place, but what about the hundreds place and on? I had an issue with that because I didn't know whether or not you had to cross that out too in the hundreds place or leave it alone. For some reason, that particular rule it escaped me in the third grade, and I was frustrated with that. But eventually, I learned it. I got past it, and I went to multiplication and division, and exponents, and I blew past square roots and exponents. That was I like square roots and exponents more than all the other ones. To me, it's something about the square root. It's about patterns, the double numbers, patterns. Square root of 6, stuff. Or square root of 36, 6. 6 squared, all that stuff. So I would say my intro into math started off rocky, to be honest with you, with subtraction and all that stuff. And then it come to multiplication. We had the rule of the zero. You had like long digit numbers, and you had like the zero there when you do the cross thing. And I was always trying to figure out, okay, when do you do that? And I had issues with that. It wasn't, however, until I got to something clicked in me. I mean, I think it was maybe 5th and 6th grade, right? I got, the thing is, I wanted to be able to really, go through subtraction in my head like I did all of them, because I can add, subtract, I can add, multiply, divide, all that stuff in my head with no issue. Like it comes out like water. But I wanted to do the same thing with subtraction. I couldn't do subtraction in my head fast like I did with addition, multiplication, division, exponents, and all that stuff. So when I got maybe like 5th, 6th grade, what I would do is, and this is actually just where education really can take a word note from. When I was in history class, I remember being in the. I remember specifically, I was in the 6th grade, right? And I was in history class, Mr. Parker, in John Bros Elementary School in Washington, D.C., right? So I'm in history class, and I forgot what the subject was we were talking about in history class. But there was a particular year that was significant in that history class. So while he was talking, in my mind, I saw the year that we were discussing. Okay, I think it was like the 1400s or 1400s, something like that. It was like something like that. I remember seeing that particular number, the year, and I asked myself the question: if so and so was born in this particular year, and that's like the year I was in 6th grade. What year was I in 6th grade? I graduated from junior high. It's the early 90s. Okay, I would say I would say early 90s. Right? I don't feel like going through all that. What I did was ask myself the question: if this person was born in this year, that was like in the 1400s, 1500s, shoot, how old would they be if they were alive today? In that particular year, I was in 6th grade. Okay? And then what happened was, without any pen or paper, or pencil or paper, I was doing the math in my head during a history class, because I had asked that one question. And from that point forward, whenever I was in class, no matter what class it was, I was history class, math class, science, whatever. Whenever I saw a number, right, I would ask the question: let's say if I saw the number 8, right, I would ask myself the question: I see the number 8, and it's the year 2017. Let's take this year. Back then I was asking the question: okay, if it's the year 2017, and I see the number 8, if I were to subtract 8 years from 2017, what year would it be? And I would do the answer. We all know the answer to that. Okay? So what I was doing, without realizing what I was doing, I was actually working out all the subtraction kinks I had in the 3rd grade that I had trying to master subtraction. Like I got mastered addition and multiplication and division. Okay? So from that point forward, every time I saw, even to this very day, I do the same thing. Whenever I see a number, right, I would then ask if that person, let's say if the person was born in, like, I would see a number, 633, right? I would say if a person was born in 633 CE and all that stuff, how old would they be if they were alive today? And when I would ask that question, I would do the math in my head, because usually I would ask, because when you're out and about and having recess, or you're just out, running around, all that stuff, you don't have any pencil paper around you to sit down and just write these problems down and do it in your head. So you had to. So for me, when I saw a number, if I was going walking down the street and I saw a number, and I would ask that question, since I didn't have any paper or pencil just to stop right there in the middle of the sidewalk and write it down, I would do the math in my head as I'm walking down the street, which helped me with the ability to understand subtraction, understand math in general, mentally. I didn't have to rely on paper. I didn't have to rely on sitting down counting my fingers. I still do count my fingers. If I got to, I count my fingers. I don't care. I write it down. But now my brain has got to a point where I can do it. I can do the math in my head, because when I was asking these questions, I wasn't in the classroom. I was out and about, running around, having fun with friends, and having recess, and walking down the street, or walking to the store. Like, if I go to the store and I'll buy something, and the price will come up, and I had money in my pocket, I couldn't sit around and say, "Hey, I need some pencil paper. Can I write it down?" What I did for myself was, I said, "Okay, I have this amount of money in my pocket, and the price says this. How much change can I get back?" And what I would try to do, I would try to guess the change I would get back before the cash register even closed. I was working on that. I was, okay, I'm like, this particular thing cost, this thing cost $3.75. I have $5 in my pocket. How much change should I get back? Now, I would ask this question, and I would try to answer the question before the person even opened the drawer and grabbed the money and closed it to give it to me. I would have the answer, $1.25. Before they would give it to me. So I said, okay, if I know how much change I should get, then I should be able to see the change, so I know, okay, you're not going to cheat me out my change, because I did the math in my head. Before you were able to even finish the transaction, I did the math in my head, so I should be able to get back what I know. I know what the answer is, right? So all those times I kept saying, well, if this person was born in 1492, how old would they be in this year? And I would do the math. Or the year 1776 and it's 2017, how old is America? I would do these problems in my head just walking down the street, which forced me to to really build up my mental abilities, my mental capabilities when it comes to math, mental math, and which also helped me able to explain math to someone else. Like, because I'm able to do this, and I found ways for myself to understand math, I am now able to break it down and reassemble it, and then impart it to someone else. Tell them, or I could teach them math in a way that's simple. I did, I call it the rule of zero, rule of one, rule of two. All these are not new, but I found ways. Like, I figured out a way how to multiply by only multiplying once. Every other time you just add. And I just call it, say, remember the rule of zero and add the first factor to the last product. Remember the rule of zero and add the first factor to the last product. And you should be able to multiply any number. And the first time you multiply will be the rule of zero. 0 times 5 is 0. Add the first factor to the last product. Add the first factor, which is 5, to the last product, which is 0. So 0 plus 5 is 5, which is also the same as 0 times 1. Okay, so that's how my brain works. So, but that's how I got into math. And when I realized how many times I was able to, remember, keep in mind, the math side of me really kicked in. I always knew math. Math was not an issue. But when it really hit home for me that I can truly understand this and break it down for math, it wasn't in a math class. It was in my history class in the 6th grade. That's when all the rules hit me. That's when the complete understanding of math hit me, was during a history lesson in the 6th grade. It wasn't in the math class. It was in the history class, which is strange. I did a video not too long ago about how I got into science. How I got into science was I was looking at something that had nothing to do with what my teacher was teaching. My teacher wasn't teaching about the periodic table of elements. She was teaching about something else. I just happened to get there and it caught me. And there would be a physics book in my toy chest at home for my brother. I was playing with my toys and I found a physics book. I put my toys down, read a physics book when I was a little kid. So you can find education anywhere. You can find inspiration anywhere. Anywhere you are, inspiration is there to find you. Okay? So that's how I got into math. Hope you enjoyed my video. Leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you on later. Peace.